I see your biggest lever is your followers, right? Because right now you have 15,000 followers. A lot of people follow it, and you can just lean into that, right? I think really right now in 2025, and especially in this info space market right now, it's all about making people think. Because 2-3 years ago, you could promise people everything and they will buy. You could do direct selling and people would buy, but because like the info space has become like pretty fucking crowded, right? And if you start seeing like a lot of people, it just stops working. Now we start seeing the people who are actually doing the most amount of money, like TGR, all these people, they're indirectly selling, right? So going over some of these story sequences. So if you didn't already get access to the free personal branding database they've created, so kind of every single content as that we kind of go through, you want to make people think and trigger curiosity or use authority, right? So it's making people think. It really interrupt, like a power interrupt, right? So that's why you start seeing people posting on story sequence and everything. Oh, 10K day, 15K day and all this stuff, because it's just people like results. Obviously, you have a very big audience, but I'm going to assume this is mostly B2C. And it's also very important because B2C purely buys off of emotion, right? So when you have a B2B offer, when you have like you have an agency and you go into other people's brands and you install this stuff, then it's more logically driven, right? But with B2C, you're selling to people who buy off of emotion, right? They start seeing they want the followers, and you want to lean into that. Again, going into indirectly selling, it's building a brand and an angle and that makes people think and relate with your content. For example, Shelby Sapp, right? She is a female sales trainer, right? She sells sales training. Like, she's not a very good sales trainer, but people still buy from her because they really vibe with her. Look at these videos, right? So fitting in literally scares me. I want to live a life most people never experience. This is like a... It seems funny. It's funny, and most people. But the reason, for example, do you remember last night when I mentioned TJ and you start laughing? And that is really the reason.
Because he's the most indirect guy ever. Like he's not selling you anything. Like
exactly.
Check his videos here.
Exactly, and that's why he makes so much money. This, even though they seem retarded, because all of this is just top of the funnel attention that he utilizes, and then he just converts people in his middle funnel, on his story sequences, he's posting results, right? But he in this content, and that is exactly that laugh is exactly why he makes so much money. Because to stand out, right, the people who are very mainstream, right, when that everyone knows, they make the most amount of money, and yet they have focused so much on the top of the funnel because everyone says, oh, you should just only post educational based content, you should never post lifestyle and all this stuff. Well, how do these make money? Because they have a very, very big like audience that they really kind of extract a lot of value from, but what they do is they really, it's almost like they all have something unique to them, right? One, TGI is that guy who screams loud and he's retarded, and that's why people follow him, because they really vibe with him and they vibe with their brand, and that's how you stand out. One of them already gained X amount of followers from it, and if you don't even opt in for this, like what are you even doing? I think the core angle you kind of got a grip over it. I think it's just mainly framing it a little bit differently to really just like build up that curiosity thing.
Okay, so some context for this is that we already did a story CTA like that before, like let's say around 1 or 2 weeks ago. So we already had that angle, and that's why you have this now, that if you didn't already get access to it that time, then they need to do it now, because there might not be a next time.
Yes, exactly. So you just say, 2 weeks ago, I dropped this thing, this many people came in, they got this amount of followers, and just kind of build this a story around it. Now, for example, this. For now, I'm going to make it better and better for you guys. So I would just make it this again. This is pretty there, so I just make it. So I'm working. Just show like your for example, show your screen time, how much you're working for my followers, working for my audience. Because it's more like live. It feels more in the trenches right now. People really, I think the next format that will really work for the next couple of months, especially right now in 2025. Is the format of authenticity and really connecting with people. Because once you already have a big brand, people are like, okay, they want to connect with you. Because we start seeing everyone, being completely fake on social media. And people kind of got sick of that, right? People got sick of people selling courses. And now what they really want to see is they want to see authenticity and people actually caring. So that's why we start seeing selfie reels. I think they're going to be in an amazing format. So, but don't be surprised when I just randomly make private and you didn't give it. Okay. What I would do is, again, I would just frame it differently. So really with story sequences and with any content asset, you can build it out and you can put effort into it. But to make it like 10 out of 10, you really need, it's kind of exponential, the line, where the amount of effort you have to put it to make it exponentially better. And I just kind of make this complex mechanism about like, okay, how this person brand, and I'd frame it around, obviously, yes, you are selling B2C, but I also have a B2B offer. So I'd make, for example, something like creating more curiosity and stuff like that. So for example, you could even put to close friends all the people from like B2B and stuff like that, and make it specifically for them, make it like a complex mechanism. B2C will believe anything, right? Because you right now are the authority in their eyes. So people look up to you, right? And when people look up to you, whatever you're saying, and like they just believe it, whatever, like unless you say some crazy shit, they will believe it.
Fair enough.
For your B2B offer, which is like hard ticket, you really want to make it like make this complex mechanism, and which I wouldn't recommend for you. It's also understanding about formats. Whenever you create a new format, a new angle in the market, you get to kind of become like an industry leader. Think about like so many people created this, a couple months ago. We had this format of like the skull emoji and the edits, and that blew up super fucking hard. We started seeing people that blew up and made hundreds of thousands of followers. And whenever you kind of ride the wave early, you get to become and take advantage of like the wave and really kind of become an industry leader. And usually the people who actually utilize it the most are the ones when most people hop on the train, they're already off, right? So right now, this is what I'd say, what I would do with selfie reels, right? For now, YouTube story sequence, this is just for redirect people to the YouTube, like the YouTube. So what I would do, so right now you post a lot of vlogs there, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, this is the deep link, so you know what you're doing. I'll redirect it to a specific YouTube video. And
I set that up yesterday, but why it's not working. But why aren't you subscribe to me right now, bro? What the fuck? Yeah.
Okay. So what I would do is I would make a separate YouTube channel with only purely info, purely your business, right? Because this is cool. These are vlogs.
Yeah.
And I would make a YouTube video that you utilize to sell just purely in that nature. And you could have like 100, 200 views a video. And trust me, it'll be fine. Because your goal isn't to get views, your goal is to get the right views, right? Because right now, your ICP who's watching this may not buy from you, but this is a big part of this. It's really like entertainment. And entertainment content can be good, especially when you have like a larger pool of audience and you kind of convert that. But like right now you have so much attention, and you just need to convert that the right way. Because I'm telling you right now, I have around 115k followers, right? If you would, I'm guaranteed there are like 1,000 followers who are prepared to pay you right now, like for your max offer, like whatever it may be, like 5-10k. Right now, if you would target them with ads or stuff like that, and you pick a specific audience, I guarantee right now, there are people who would buy that out of this audience. So it's really just, you have the attention, is about now how you convert it, right? So you have Brandsy, which is good. You have your agency, right? But I would also put results. Do you like
the results are there?
Yes.
Should I create a separate one for Brandsy and a separate one for the results?
So you should just have a lot of results. So I would just make it. Obviously, this is very good. You have content. This is obviously very, very good. And 24, 25, 23. This is you're kind of going off. You remind me a lot of Moritz. He's indirectly selling as well. What Moritz is doing is he has a crypto cabal, and it's hidden. It's like in his link in bio. Sometimes he pushes into story sequences, but he never pushes it to his content. He never kind of like directly pushes it, like, and that's completely fine. I'm sure he's making decent, like he's making bank with it, right? And you kind of remind me of that, right? Because he has a lot of lifestyle. He has no results. He posts results only in his stories, and on content he has edits and lifestyle and all this stuff. In that term, right? So what I would do right now, for example, with your bio, I think these really simple bios can win sometimes with a lot of people. I think they can honestly win just because of due to the simplicity. But you don't want to make it to the point where it's too broad, right? Because obviously you have two offers. It's also how you want to appeal yourself and kind of present yourself onto the market, right? About and over 700k followers and 200 million views generated in DME. So you have like, okay, then you have like social proof. This is what you do in social proof, and then CTA.
Yeah.
And this is like YouTube. This is honestly okay. Entrepreneur, keep it cool. I just make more highlights for results. And it also depends how you frame the results, because obviously you had like a content agency in the past. So what I would say is you really kind of want to separate the two, because I think there are two different avatars. What I saw even last night when you show me like the offers and everything, I would never make different tiers for offers, because you just confuse the person. You just confuse the buyer. like, okay, like, oh, 15 videos for this, 30 videos for this price point. It's the same avatars, everything. What I would do is I would just make two different types of models, like a done with you or a done for you. And a done for you is a completely different model. You charge differently, and you do everything differently in it. And due to the nature of it, that's when you have different avatars as well. Now, what I would say is, do you have a setter?
Yeah.
Okay, is he any good?
He's not bad. Like that's the same thing that I said yesterday as well. But he's getting better, and he's focusing on his skills, and he's really good with numbers, and that's like one of the most important parts about being a setter.
100%. And like what I really realized, because obviously we can go into what he should track. It's really understanding your offer and what do you sell and who's your avatar and what is your angle, right? Because right now, and that's I think very important for team members, because again, you need to kind of position yourself, and this goes into everything, right? Like position is really everything, because if you position yourself wrong, then you're not gonna get clients, but also it goes into team members, it goes to everything, it goes to your opportunities and everything that you go through, your exact positioning.
About creating a unique mechanism, like yes, I have all these things that I do differently, but like calling it something special, like the Didi method, just having like method in the name, I think that would just sound really like course,
guru.
like gurus do that. Like, are you really 100%. Sure that that's something that you would do in a B2B offer?
That is a very, very good question, because it's all about how you frame it and how you do it. Because if you do it, again, I think with business right now, in everything, in content, in selling, in appointment setting, in sales, if you do it like 60% right, you're gonna get crushed, because that's what everyone is doing, because no one really kind of builds up really like the angle and the story, right? If you do like 100% right, you're gonna make a ton of money, because no one really, it's indirect again, right? So on that end, it's really how you build up the story and the unique mechanism. Obviously, if you make it like super like, oh yeah, I'm making this, it's gonna sound guru, and you're gonna kind of lose rep. So this is again, when info is like one of those things, like if you're really good at it, you're gonna make a bunch of money, you're gonna get cash flow. But if you're not, then you're gonna ruin your reputation. And it's very important to do it right, because if you can position yourself right in the space, because it's a pretty competitive game, right? If you can position yourself right, then you can really crush it. So in that term, I would try to frame it in a way of like, hey, DM me this, I scale personal brands. I try to kind of make yourself like this genius guy that's behind all of these big personal brands. And I wouldn't frame it around views and followers, even though that's important, obviously. I would try to, for B2B, I would try to make it more in terms of money generated. Exactly. So what you could do for B2B is you could pick to close friends all the people that are qualified. You could use softwares, you could do an appointment or a VA based on that, or make direct ads. So you can make retargeting ads, so you would target this specific audience, and then you send them to a specific VSL that's YouTube and that is unlisted. Because it feels, again, it feels super special. It feels exclusive. Exactly. With story sequences, for example, what I've did for a couple of people is you really want to have that para interrupt. Once, if you don't, like, you want to have like the curiosity angle and kind of build something around that, right? So leverage the people you've worked with, and in a moment where obviously you never want to lie. I will never tell someone to lie in like info or whatever, because it's just stupid. You're gonna get caught, and it's not good for anyone. But the way you frame things is very important, right? Because you never want to be too low key where you don't show anything. Obviously, that's obviously a game that you need to kind of play. What I really try to do is I really try to understand their really exact positioning and their offer and all those other things. So I just kind of frame it more differently of like, hey, like I'm never doing this ever again. I've never done this ever. I shouldn't be doing this, because when you launch, and I think people could, like, this is a lot of potential, because you already have such a big audience that people will be like, okay, let me see what this guy has to say, because you already have that lever, because you have 115,000 followers and all that sort of stuff. To do is you're 16, right? So
yeah,
you can leverage your age.
I'm 51. I just look young.
Yeah, it's a famous. It's like
I'm an
you're
old
unique.
soul.
When you're 16, it's like you can kind of leverage it, in a way.
51. Yeah.
Bro, it's still kind of like a wow factor if you're like more like B2B and you're selling towards older people. It's still like a young, like if you really know what you're talking about. Right now, I think it's really showing people, like educating your audience, because a lot of people just follow you because they see you're cool. And I think it's really just like
appreciate it
and converting that awareness and that traffic that you have into the specific things. So on that end, I think you could try, for example, leveraging your age. Depends how you want to appeal yourself, because if you want to make your main offer like the B2C, then you could try to not leverage it. You could, I wouldn't do 16, because it's like whatever, like everyone 16 who's already follows you, and that's not very. But if everyone who's you're trying to sell to is like 30, it's like, oh, okay, like this guy half my age. And it kind of goes both ways. I think a lot of people have like limiting beliefs around their age. Oh, I'm 16, no one will take me seriously. I think if you actually know what you're talking about and people can see that, like I've had like millionaires and people like actually wanting my help with story sequences. This is true, because they just see, okay, I was referred by other people who are also good, because I was just good and I was good at what I did. So I could leverage like, okay, I generated X amount of client revenue or at 16, or scaling personal brands, and I try to kind of position yourself a little bit more uniquely. That's on that front. For example, scaling personal brands to 30K a month plus. This is if you want to make like a done with you mid ticket, like a 5K or something like that. What I would do is I would really leverage YouTube right now, because you could try to make all these complex funnels to make like target people with ads, which you've never done, which can take a lot of time. But I think the easiest thing is really the first actionable step is make sure you have a good setter that reaches out to the qualified people. Number one, like posting, leveraging more results and story sequences and your content, talking more about your brands, and really kind of getting educated and educating your audience on that front. And on YouTube, where people really see what you're talking about. Because when people see, okay, this guy knows what she's talking about, then that's really the place where the conversion happens. Like a couple years ago, we started people seeing like Tate was doing so much money and all these people doing info, because you could promise anyone anything and they would buy. But people in this time, the info space has really grown. It's become kind of like a red ocean market. People have been burned and scammed. The trust is at an all-time low. And now you kind of have to position yourself differently. In a way, you kind of have to, people need to trust you. So this is what I mean by indirect selling, because direct selling is the normal way of like CTAs, of like, hey, like, watch this, I'm picking out the best people, this is I'm only picking 10 spots. Why does that not work? It's because people have already seen that 100 times. And unless you're really selling towards like a super niche specific audience who hasn't been exposed to that same amount of like angles and content and all that stuff, it's gonna be really harder. And it's really kind of all the top industry leaders who make the most amount of money, they all have something unique that they can attach themselves into, right? So TGR is the guy who trades. We have Shelby Savage, the sales trainer girl, and they all kind of have this unique thing. As you said, like when we were at the dinner table last night, and I don't know, I mentioned TGR, and all of them started laughing. That is the exact reason why TGR makes so much money. Or like Brad Scales, they started doing these inside jokes with their audience to increase trust. For example, cracked Camilla, or all this stuff. Crash course. And even when you see people who reach out to him in person who mention these things, because he really dialed that on. He's like the car enthusiast who owns Fiji Water, and he has a trust fund, and it's really super funny, and people fuck with that because they really like it, and that's how it kind of goes. That's what kind of what I mean by indirect. So what does that mean for you is just right now, because you already have your level, you already have your followers, and by doing so, it's very easy to just sell, and then you're gonna, if you don't do it 100% correctly, you're gonna just like you get fucked, because your rep is gonna get fucked, because people like have already done that. But right now it's just about positioning yourself differently and really kind of crafting your unique character, because I think you show some of your personality in your content, which is very good. But I think right now it's gathering all that attention and converting them. Right. So start YouTube, optimize like your bio, story sequences, make them better. We could go over and build out one if you want. And I think you can really crush it with an offer. And that's pretty 100%. Much it. Anything else?
No.
Okay. See you.
Appreciate it.